Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is July 29th of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage apocalyptic, earth-changing events surrounding the de facto Jewish holiday of Yahweh, which is going to transpire on July 30th of 2026. So, for those of you that don't understand numerology, the date of July 30th is 730 or 73, and 3 times 7 is 777, and this number is found in the tetragram of Yahweh, which is the highest god in Judaism. This matters because Switzerland was the first Jewish state founded circa August 1st, 1309, and that is why it is home to the Central Intelligence Agency headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland. The notion that the CIA is Jewish and would stage apocalyptic Defcon-Level events on the Yahweh numerology is corroborated by the fact that the first ever Zionist Congress was held at the Stadt Casino in Basel, Switzerland back on August 29th to the 31st of 1897. Switzerland is the home of Zionism. Zionism was birthed in Switzerland. And so Zionism, which is the political motivation behind these impending earth-changing events in the next 24 to 36 hours, is rooted in Switzerland, which is home to the CIA. This notion is also corroborated by the fact that the first ever World Jewish Congress was founded in Geneva, Switzerland, back on August 8th of 1936 with the first ever plenary assembly of the World Jewish Congress. So we have the first Zionist Congress and we have the first Jewish Congress, both of which were founded in Switzerland. And this matters because the Swiss government basically provides political cover for the Zionist CIA, which is located in Geneva, and we know that they execute earth-changing events on their respective numerology, and so the date of 7-3 or 3-7 is 777 numerologically speaking, and that is because the CIA in Switzerland is going to execute horrific blood sacrifices offered up to the Jewish god of Yahweh in the next 24 to 36 hours. So this could happen because it's already, where I'm at locally, it's already July 30th. So this could happen July 30th, European time, USA time, Asian time, or it could happen any other time. But so leading up to, during, and shortly after the date of July 30th of 2026, the CIA is going to stage major events. So what I'm going to do in this video is outline like the top 20 or 21 different scenarios, keeping in line with the numerology, because 3 times 7 is 21. Coincidentally, the date of July 30th marks exactly 210 days since Guy Parmelon became president of Switzerland, and because the CIA is located in Geneva, they cue off this particular date. So 21 is 3 sevens equals 21, and it's 210 days since he became president. So this suggests the numerology is all lining up, suggesting that the CIA is going to stage a major event. The notion that the CIA plans to stage a earth-changing event on this particular numerology is corroborated by the fact that Malaysian Airlines flight MH370, here we have the 37 numerology again, was disappeared by the CIA back on March 8th of 2014, and this is because they plan to fly this plane into a building, into a skyscraper, into a tourist attraction, into a stadium with a biological, chemical, radiological, or nuclear payload. And coincidentally, this plane was disappeared on March 8th. What is March 8th? March 8th is 3-8, that's CH, that's Confederation Helvetica. So this is the CIA disappearing a plane which they plan to bring back into reality at some future date, possibly on the 3-7 or 7-3 numerology, and then they're going to change the world with a 9/11 style terror attack, or this plane landing at an airport, and then they claim that there is a weaponized airborne biological contagion inside, and then they start a second pandemic. So this is the fact. Fact of the matter is that the CIA cues off this particular numerology because it's in Switzerland, and of course, CH is Confederation Helvetica, as previously stated, and that is because that is home to the CIA. So obviously, number one being a 9/11 style attack, CBRN in nature. Number two being an ICBM event. They just came out with this movie called Oppenheimer, which features this Jewish scientist about a nuclear event, and coincidentally, this movie features the Swiss flag, which is obviously telling that they're going to stage some sort of an event. So an ICBM strike targeting the United States, Israel, or Europe, or a space launch vehicle, which is basically a rocket with a nuclear payload, is expected. Thirdly, a Trump dissolution of presidency event. We know that Benjamin Netanyahu, who is a rabid Zionist, is currently in Washington, D.C., or in the United States, for the funeral of Senator Lindsey Graham. And as I stated in a previous video, he is planning on staging some sort of terror event or a Trump assassination event while he is in the country. Fourthly, the CIA is going to stage an Iranian military attack targeting Israel, the United States, Europe, or one or more United States Armed Forces related military installations in the Middle East on the date of July 30th. Donald J. Trump just stated today, July 29th, that he's going to bomb the fucking shit out of Iran. And this is specifically designed to highlight Iran on an international level just prior to this impending attack, which will likely be a false flag attack by the state of Israel. And it will likely be nuclear in nature or a dirty bomb in nature. Number 5, I just published a report for a man-made apocalyptic asteroid attack targeting Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Africa. And so some sort of earth-changing impact event targeting one or more locations on planet Earth is expected on July 30th. Other potential events include, but are not limited to, an alien disclosure event, an Ebola or smallpox outbreak. So they've staged this ongoing Ebola outbreak in the Congo and in the South Sudan, in Africa, and so what they're trying to do is import it to an international airport. And so I have published numerous reports over the last few weeks about a Ebola outbreak targeting airports in New York City, Paris, London, etc. And so that is a plan, and they may resort to a smallpox outbreak targeting one or more locations around the world. Number 8 is a Russian military offensive. I just published a report entitled Operation Killshot, which is about a Russian bunker buster bombing attack targeting NATO and European Union heads of state. Some sort of a Operation Spiderweb, but from the Russian version. And so obviously this would be like a Archduke Ferdinand-like moment whereby it ultimately triggers World War III. Obviously a political assassination, possibly targeting Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, possibly targeting U.S. President Donald J. Trump, or other heads of state is expected, and that will likely be scapegoated onto China, Iran, or Russia and executed by the Israeli Mossad. Also, with the massive man-made earthquake attack targeting Venezuela back on June 24th, and the most recent man-made earthquake attack targeting Japan on the date of July 28th, we can expect a major apocalyptic man-made earthquake attack. This is being, these are satellite-based directed energy weapon-related attacks targeting planet Earth. And so a major earthquake attack. The 3 most likely locations are Rome, Italy, New York City, Los Angeles, California, and Tokyo, Japan. That is because Tokyo, they plan on staging a massive tsunami attack targeting, they want to flood the Tokyo metropolis. In Los Angeles, they want to collapse the continental shelf of the United States and sink LA into the Pacific Ocean. In New York, they want to knock down a bunch of skyscrapers, and in Rome, they want to basically bring down all the Roman architecture and flatten it and kill the Pope. So those are the four most likely locations. That being said, other locations are could be attacked. Number 11, so with the recent passage of H.R. 8800, namely with Section 219, which is the merging of the United States and Israeli military, the CIA is planning on staging some sort of anti-Semitic, neo-Nazi, America First revenge attack targeting Hebrew, Israeli, and or Jewish-related entities in the United States or Canada. And so obviously a false flag anti-Semitic attack is expected, and this will predictably be biological, weaponized airborne biological contagion in nature, because they want to stage a anti-Semitic pandemic, so that anybody that questions the veracity or the validity of the pandemic will be labeled as anti-Semitic. The CIA is planning on staging a military coup d'etat to overthrow the government of the United States in Washington, D.C. This will likely result in the assassination of U.S. President Donald J. Trump, or the kidnapping or court-martial thereof. This could be a Barack Obama coup. This could be a Jeb Bush coup. This could be a communist coup. It could be a Russian coup. It could be Iranian. It could be anything. I've addressed all these various angles, but the January 6, 2021 false flag attack on the U.S. Capitol provided the logistics cover for the implementation of biological and chemical weapons inside the U.S. Capitol complex. And so what they're doing is they're waiting to stage a secondary event where they can release these chemicals into the skies of Washington, D.C., shut down the U.S. government, and move it to the Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado. Also, an attack by the shadow fleet of the Israeli Navy is expected. Unbeknownst to most of humanity, the Israeli Navy is one of the largest in the world because they are the recipients of aircraft carriers, ships, and submarines of the U.S. Navy and the Royal Navy of the UK, and so they have a massive fleet, and they also are privy to prototypes of state-of-the-art weaponry, and so a naval attack which will target the Asian Pacific theater, the North American theater, the European theater, or the Middle Eastern theater is expected. This will likely be a submarine-based bombardment attack with drones, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, torpedoes, etc., targeting coastal cities around the world, and then it would be subsequently scapegoated onto China, onto North Korea, onto Iran, onto Russia, etc., as pretext for World War III. So basically a USS Liberty type attack by the Israeli Navy is expected. Also, dovetailing off that is we can expect a Israeli military offensive, possibly targeting Gaza Strip, possibly targeting Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Cyprus, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, any of the nations, Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, some sort of military offensive by the apartheid genocidal state of Israel is expected, and this will likely be under the guise of assassinating Islamic terrorists or preventing a weapon of mass destruction attack, and so that will obviously trigger an escalation of war in the Middle East. Also, number 16, the CIA is planning on staging a major cyber attack. This could be targeting banks, cryptocurrencies, the electrical grid, mass transit-related entities, nuclear reactors, but it's most likely going to target nuclear missile silos, satellites, or SpaceX satellites. So there's been this ongoing kind of simmering feud between Russia and SpaceX because of their satellites and their Starlink capacity, which is the Ukrainian armed forces are using these satellites to guide their drones into Russian targets. And so some sort of mass satellite attack that brings down the grid in some form or fashion is expected. In the event that nuclear reactors are targeted, we're going to have a meltdown, and this may be happening in Ukraine or another location, which results in obviously would be obviously touted as an act of war. Of course, this is likely going to be executed by the Israeli cyber army. I believe it's 8200, Unit 8200, and that's so some sort of a Stuxnet type cyber attack by the Israeli 8200 Unit 8200 is expected. Also, some sort of act of war by China, Iran, Pakistan, North Korea, Russia, Turkey, or the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is expected. We just had, in the last 24 hours, we had the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia bomb alleged Iran-backed militia groups in Iraq. And so this appears to be an escalation of hostilities in the Middle East, and this is likely going to feature some sort of major event on the Yahweh numerology. Also, yesterday I published a report for a false flag attack targeting submarines of the U.S. Navy, and we have U.S. aircraft carriers stationed all around the world, and the quickest way for the Zionist establishment to essentially bait the United States into a war with Russia, China, or Iran is to stage an attack on a U.S. aircraft carrier. And these are essentially floating cities, so in the event they're bombed, in the event that they are attacked in any form or fashion, it would be obviously very dramatic, visually speaking, and the video would be used for propaganda reasons. And so obviously these aircraft carriers are in all the theaters of war, and so they are obviously vulnerable to attack, most likely to get Dolphin-class German-made submarines of the Israeli Navy. And so some sort of Pearl Harbor-like event targeting U.S. aircraft carriers is expected. Also, lastly, a foreign attack or invasion, likely featuring an activation of the 8 wars which U.S. President Donald J. Trump previously negotiated peace agreements for. This is Pakistan, India, Cambodia, Laos, all the different scenarios which Trump negotiated peace agreements for. These are likely going to erupt in some form or fashion. But what we do know is that some sort of Defcon-level event, activation of the emergency alert system, neutralization of President Trump, a biological outbreak as pretext for a pandemic, and or a declaration of war as pretext for World War III is expected in the next 24 to 36 hours surrounding the de facto Jewish holiday of Yahweh of 7/30, July 30th of 2026. So obviously, if this comes to fruition in reality, I would kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military officials, and as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. I just want to say really quick in closing that the notion that the CIA cues off numerology for different events is corroborated by the fact that if we look at the last 100 years of humanity, if we take all the major earth-changing events, events like Gulf of Tonkin, 9/11, 7/7, and most recently October 7th, if we look at these events, we can see that every single one of them has the same numerology. And so it's not, a lot of people dismiss numerology because they think it's stupid, but in reality it's there. It is present in every single attack, every single earth-changing event, and I believe that the date of July 30th is going to prove me correct, and that the CIA is going to execute a very, very major false flag event on this particular numerology, and hopefully this video goes and is able to prevent this impending tragedy, courtesy of Switzerland, from happening.